go.
Ooh, I love your overlay thing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for telling me. I'm going to try to fix it.
Oh no, you're echoing there too.
Am I still echoing? Okay. Okay, we're just gonna go live. It's I echo or we have music and yeah, we don't need it. All right. So hi, I know we've got Kate, Trisha, and Pippino who are always here. And Sote! Thank you for subscribing. Yeah. So excited. Good note just reminded me oh no Jackie audio. What? I can hear her. Can you hear her now?
Ready to be honey. No! Nah, Tamlin, be mine. There she is. Dottie Champagne is the techno hazard of the day.
You might hear me twice now.
Oh, no! Yeah, but double the Dottie, double the fun.
Yeah.
And you're on a Mac, so I can't even like try to troubleshoot with you. Do you want to try it over Zoom, or you want to?
I don't know. What do you folks say? Can you hear me?
Whoa, now I can't hear you. Ghosts. There's a ghost. There is a ghost. It is double now. Wait a second. What about your audio output? Your audio output in your OBS. Check that and make sure. Is it just what's coming through? It can't be what's coming through here because that's what's going that. So it can't do that. So you don't have that.
No. See, like,
what do you have set up for as your audio output for the OBS?
In Mac, you have to do it weird, and I had to set up like thingies.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, y'all. You are gonna have to hear me twice, so Jackie can hear me. So, Jackie, can you turn the stream on your computer and just watch me that way?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. Wait, you speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
then should we end this call? No, we can't end the call.
No, because then you're not on.
All right, so then I'll just have a delay. I've got you muted in real life, but we're going to be working in a delay.
Okay.
Although
Thank
Echo
you
isn't
so-
bad, so I'll follow you. I will follow you.
Okay, let's just go with this for now, rather than me just I'm fucking around. Here.
This is all good.
Can you guys hear me if I do this? Can chat hear me? Is this working?
I think so, because I can hear you through the thing.
Okay, I made a small adjustment, and now we're okay. So it's fine.
Okay, great. Is that better?
Yeah. It's low. Okay.
It's fine, though.
It's fine.
I wish I could see your...
I know.
Oh, that's why.
I wish I could see my...
This is how we figure these things out. This is the perfect way to figure these things out, is by doing it. It's, here it's the middle of the afternoon. So it's like, what does it matter? We're just here to talk about fun things.
Yeah, we're just here to hang out. It's all good. And
yeah,
this just illustrates why I will later have a fundraising goal for a computer that doesn't do this.
It is. I completely understand. I didn't even you're working on a Mac. I don't know how you're doing it. That's why, every time I tried to do it on my Mac, I was like, none of the programs are made for Macs.
No. They're not.
But look at us now.
Yeah.
So everybody here has been watching along, right? Everyone is aware of what happens in this book.
Yes, but we're going to say this right off the top now. If you don't know what happens, there's going to be spoilers.
Yes, there's definitely going to be spoilers. I just remember sitting...
There we go.
We know. I was sitting next to Jeff as I finished the book and just going... next to him, and finally he's like, okay, what is it? What's happening? And I was like, because that's how I get attention when I'm reading a book, because he doesn't care about A Court of Thorns and Roses. And sometimes while reading, I have to go, but I don't mean to. It's just because I'm usually high when I read. So I just get really excited and I get really upset. So.
Oh, yeah. No, my partner had to put up with me, reading it with everybody and just yelling, because I was just yelling at everyone all the time. It's like, how do you do that? Why are you doing that?
I mean, welcome to my world.
Mm-hmm.
Screaming into the nothing, but with people, but by yourself?
So, off the top, I think we were talking about this a little bit before we started, was the pronunciations of the names, which thank you so much to Katricia for helping me out with that. But I believe on the first chapter, I was pronouncing her name Fair.
Yeah, because I had no idea. I'm glad that we're talking about this, because I have Tamlin, easy.
Yeah.
But how did you pronounce the Boj?
Yeah, see, I said Boj the first time too, and then I was corrected that it was more like Bog.
Ah, double G, Bog. Double G, put the E on the Bog.
Mm-hmm. And I had to be very careful every time that I pronounced the other monsters, the Naga.
Yeah, no, that's very scary to say aloud. Yep. Oh, it's Trish. After you said you wanted to read it after Twilight, but decided not to, I started listening to the audiobooks and listen to nothing else until I finished them all. So here's the thing. The real reason why, and I think that I said this a little bit on some of the chat, some of the streams, that I got an urgent email from someone, letter, they wrote it, email from someone saying, don't read A Court of Thorns and Roses. It is very, triggering. There's a lot of sexual assault in it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I won't read it. And then maybe it's not this one, maybe in the future. But this one, I don't mean to start it off with this, but the non-consent in it is for a reason. And I feel like it's different. Not that I'm saying it's fine to do. I'm saying that I think it's different than just having a book where that is a main focus of it. And like part of the reason why like I am we've gone through the triggering part already. Thank you, Kate Trish. And I see that and I hear that. And especially for something like, you know, reading it and recording it, I get that that is difficult. But it was like it furthered the plot of the book, and I, as someone that I have been known to have been triggered by things, not to say either to have like, screw that, you shouldn't be triggered by this, but in reading it, I just felt that as a part of the plot and a part of the character development, it actually was very important and said a lot. And so I appreciated the email from the person saying, don't read this because of the triggers. And I understand where they were coming from. But part of me was like, I would have read that. Like, and just had like let people know that there's a part that is triggering because it's books. I mean, it's a lot less. It's books. It happens in books. And I would tell someone not to read that chapter, but it's a huge part of the creation of Lucian or Rysand. I mean, Rysand, which also then made me, in turn, fall in love with him. Rysand. Yes, Pippino, thank you. The warning made it seem more prevalent than it was. So I thought it was going to be a central thing. Like, I thought it was going to be. And so I kept waiting for it. And then I was like, oh, I guess it could have been that. And I can see that. But even the whole thing was that he didn't touch her below the waist. And not to say that, well, you can kiss someone without consent. I'm not saying that. But he was very respectful in a way of using her as a pawn in this game. That technically she's been a pawn the entire time.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I get all that, and it took me a while to process it, though, because, like, I mean, initially, and you can go back and you watch these clips, I was so mad.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think I said several times, I was like, he's irredeemable. I can't forgive him. I can't. It's unbelievable.
He's problematically sexy, and that's what I just kept saying. I kept closing the book being like, he's problematically sexy aloud, and Jeff's like, who? All right, I'll bite. Who's problematically sexy? I'm like, so.
Like, no, he's very sexy. Like, he's the broody boy.
He shouldn't be, though.
He's the Batman. He's the reason.
Yeah. He is the Bitmans, isn't he? I think the author was going on the assumption that Amarantha is like the worst evil, but didn't give us enough examples. And I would assume that because like it has to be the fact that she is the terror that like could control all of these high lords. She's gotta be pure fucking evil outside of just the like. I feel like it's even almost redeemable, not that it is, for an evil character that she like cut out the eye of the human who like caused the downfall of her sister. Like that is kind of redeemable in an evil man's world. But she's supposed to be ultimate terror, right? And I was kind of surprised that she died in this book.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it's like, this is this big bad that you think is going to loom over everything, but it's like first book only, and then it's gone. Right? And I mean, there are going to be elements of it, I'm sure, like repercussions and what have you, but like herself.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. It is kind of funny, though, sometimes that I talk with Jeff about this a lot because, again, he's the only person that I can really talk to about these things. And what frustrates him sometimes about fantasy, and I understand that, is that, like, it is very much of, like, she's not like the other girls. She, you know, she is the one. She is what was foretold of, like, you know, it. But I like that she goes through so many hardships, and I like how fallible she is. It's not as much as I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Harry Potter. I was a huge fucking Harry Potter person. But I always wished Harry Potter was more fallible rather than just like the golden goose. We're like,
Yeah.
I don't need a golden goose. I need someone's gonna fuck up. And that's why I like Feyre so much. So much.
She's fantastic. Love her.
Love her. Also, you can tell
so
that a
mad.
woman wrote this book, by the way,
Yeah.
which is great.
True.
I say that in a good way.
Yes. But no, like, that's why I'm so mad that she's, like, so damaged by the end.
Yeah.
Just because, like, and maybe this will come up into the other books where, like, she's going to grow out of it and it'll become better, right? But I like her so much that I don't want it to be that bad. I don't know.
Yeah, and I also, like, I do wonder, like, is it, like, in Pippin, no, I was saying, Vera gave me Bella vibes with the transformation in Death, and, like, is it going to be like that? Like, what is different now? Like, what is going to be specific? I imagine they're going to explore that a lot in the next book, which I want to let you guys know that my copy is being delivered today, and so I'm going to be reading it alongside, like, while you guys are reading it, because I want to be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
I can't sit here alone. I need to talk about it. I need you guys. And we're on this journey together. But I do wonder, like, what's going to be different then? Is it that she, like, just because you become a member of, because she's a part of the High Fae court, right?
Well, like, I don't know if she's part of the court. She is, like, the race of High Fae now, but her, like, position is not clear.
And, like, what is she going to have? Like, what is she going to be, like, I also, can I just say, sorry, my brain's bopping around all over the place. Which, talk about, in the last task when she had to go kill the 3 innocent fairies, and she just, kills them. But then technically, she didn't kill the last one, even though she tried to. So I'm surprised that wasn't more of a fucking thing, or that, like, people weren't more upset. But I imagine there's going to be a lot more people that are actually genuinely upset about what happened, that we're probably going to have to deal with in the next book, and, like, the repercussions of that as well.
Yeah.
Because, like, also, Lucian's hot, right? In my brain.
Really yes. No, I love him.
Lucian looks like, I think it's because of Dr. Jordan, but he looks like Tom Hiddleston in my brain.
A ginger Tom Hiddleston?
Yeah.
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 Into that.
We talked about murder versus stab with Amarantha's words. Yes. And that makes a lot of sense. It is, like, I feel like she was kind of pulling him out of her ass.
Oh, yeah. No, like, that's one thing that we kept bringing up, like, when we were talking, I was like, okay, so the tasks and the riddles and the, like, double speak was not as sophisticated as it maybe could have been. And I think that's more of a failing on the writer's part than it is.
Yes.
Yeah, like, actually the story. Because, like, the riddle was so easy.
It was. Well, and that's why I was like, okay, it's freedom or is it love? Like, it was between, you know, it was just one of those, like, it's got to be one of those big, like, just start saying words. At what point you're just like, honesty, truth, you know, it's like just going through justice. We knew it immediately, right? It's just like, it wasn't.
Yeah, we knew right away. And it was like, as soon as you hear Amarantha talk for like 5 minutes, you're like, okay, this is what you care about. So this is what the answer is.
But I did think that it was also a downfall of the writer as well, that, like, when you were talking about, like, the big bad and we didn't have enough of her to, by the end, hate her so brutally, to be like, yeah, kill her. Obviously, she's bad. But so much of the book was the creation of the world, which it should have been, that I felt like that last part could have been the whole beginning of the next book. Like, I thought it was very, like, zoop! And then it's this one, and then it's this one, and then she's a fairy! And I was like, I mean, I'm down with where it's going. I like that she is now a part, like, I'm happy that she is of the Fae now. But it was a little...
Yeah. It was almost like maybe she didn't have a deal for the next book or something, and she was like, I just want to get this part out.
which it does close the story, and I do like if that like I get that, but now that it is such a phenomenon, it is kind of like, oh girl, you didn't know that this was gonna be huge. Come on, this is fucking exactly what we all fucking want. And how many are there? Because are there more coming out?
Yeah, there are 4 official, like, in the series, and there's one that's like a supplemental. And the last one just
not
came
like
out
a
this
Midnight
past year.
Sun.
Kind
Okay.
of like a Midnight Sun. It's not, but it's not like the same story from someone else's perspective. It's like an additional story. And I don't know that much about it. It was just like when I was like looking at
One
the
from the
Wikipedia.
sister's POV. From which sister? Which sister?
It's
Nesta?
from the mean one, the rude one, right?
Oh, that's Nesta, right? That
Yeah.
was Nesta?
Yeah.
That whole thing, honestly, I got to a point that I'd be like, oh, let your family's fine. Were they that nice to you in the first place? Take Elaine, bring her with you. Like, what is she gonna do now?
Mm-hmm.
Captain's log supplemental. Oh my god, have you watched Our Flag Means Death yet?
Oh, first episode, that's it, but yes.
It's great. It's fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to read more. I want more. Kate Trish, I'm assuming that you have. Have you read more than? Is there more smut? I want more smut. I thought it was gonna get smuttier, and then it didn't get smuttier. But I still like the lust. Still like that scene though. Right before the scene of non-consent. Mamma mia!
That was good.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, oh my god, we got oohs.
Oh yeah. And I think maybe the reading that I did of the actual like the sex scene right before she goes home was some of the most difficult reading I've ever had to do live. It was so complicated. Oh my, oh my.
Okay, Drew says, I went back and reread a few passages from the second book. Done. Cue Careless Whisper.
Pippa, no, you can buy that with channel points or with bits now.
Whoa. Oh, you could do sound things on here now?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, you gotta teach me these things. I don't know anything about Twitch. Every time I look at them, like, what are I gonna do? What do I do now?
No.
I want to watch Lucian fuck.
Oh.
Where's that fuck?
Yeah, and he's a good friend and he's nice. He didn't commit any crimes that I know about.
No, he's the defector, right? Isn't he? Is that what he's called, the defector?
Yeah, because he left his family, but his family did shitty stuff. And I'm like, I get this. I understand what's happening here.
Yeah. And like, but how many of them do you think are going to be secretly very good? Like, it's like, what is good? Like, I'm very curious to see where this story, I think it's very fun to open into a world that has been under a curse for a long time, that now it's like the celebration. Like, I feel like it's the opposite of the second Twilight book, which was the laying in the forest until you die. And I think that like it will be the opposite, right? Streets will run white with cum, I'm assuming.
Well, yeah, you gotta hope that, but at the same time, they're also like just recovering from this terrible, like awful.
But what about the king?
Yeah, and I am concerned about him. This king guy.
Because he's bad.
He's very bad, and we haven't met him.
No.
And I can only imagine he's going to do very bad things.
He's going to do bad things, so then it's not even going to be... I do kind of think it's funny when I said before that it is obvious that a woman wrote this, of just like, that as the big bad, she's like, what does she do? She takes them and makes them her lover! Where it's like, I think that's kind of... Yeah. You're fucking all of them, girl? How do you have time to torture this many people? You'd think if you're that sexually satisfied that you wouldn't need to be torturing people, right? But who knows? I'm not a torturer.
Yeah, me either. But I think she just genuinely likes it. She likes it.
Owning them. Yeah, but Kate Treach, what does that mean? What about the king? Eyebrows, what does it mean?
Oh, she does that all the time.
Oh, what does it mean? So essentially, all right. Let's talk this out real quick. So we have Prythian. So that was a human realm, and then Highburn was the land of the Fae, and now Prithia was taken by the Fae, but it used to be human world. Like, I don't understand in comparison to like the estates, the worlds.
Yeah. What I think it was is like everything was fairy world. Like they owned all of it. And then the humans rose up. And then after that war, the humans got a piece.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to be done, because that's the whole thing. The king is wants to kill all of the humans, right? Or is that just Amarantha?
I think they were like teamed up on that. Like that was where they were working together. If I understand what that pig man was saying.
Ew, the pig man. I will say I liked how creepy deepy this book was. There were some, like, which part was your creepiest deepiest part?
Creepiest deepiest part. I don't know.
Thorns
like
and
just
roses.
Like, yeah, hello, Thorns and Roses. I don't believe I've seen you in chat before. Hi.
I don't know anything about the Hulu series, but I want to know everything about the Hulu series.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, I know I shouldn't look at this because it'll spoil things, but oh, I want to know.
I just want to dream. Honestly, it's kind of fun though, because now we all have you casted them in your brain? Because part of me is sad sometimes that I already had the cast of Twilight in my brain.
I didn't like put specific actors in places, but I have very clear pictures.
Yeah, right? Of what they look like.
Yeah.
Oh, Tamlin's so big.
Yeah.
Oh, and he just loves her so much. Man, that fucking scene of the summer, was it the solstice? It wasn't solstice, but like that, the fire night or whatever.
The fire night? Oh my god.
When he was like, don't come near me. And then he's just like biting her up against the wall.
Bites so much.
I mean, I'm not into biting, but if it was Tamlin, I'll be your turkey.
Because he loves
you could bite me.
No, I said he needs a no can though, because no biting.
Yeah, he needs a no can. No. Yeah, but in that like, I mean, he did tell her not to get near him. Also, how do we get some of that bad girl Fae wine? I feel like I could have a couple of fun nights with that.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, and on the topic of the wine, like, I want the summer one where you're having fun and you remember it. I don't want the under the mountain nighttime scary one that makes you forget everything.
No, because I feel like, to me, that's like when I drink whiskey. And it's like I've got tequila as my summer fun wine, and then I've got my whiskey, which don't give me whiskey.
No, right? And I think that's the part that I was the most upset about with all of that was the not remembering and the making her sick with the wine. I hated that. And the wearing the naked dress with no consent.
Yeah, but I also kind of want to wear that naked dress.
Yes, and like, if you want to wear it, then awesome. I love it. I would wear the shit out of that naked dress.
But he was protected. He was literally doing it to protect her. And if you think about it, like, helped her get clean every day and made her not just sit. It's like, wouldn't you want to also forget if you were trapped down there? And like, part of me is like, I think that he did it all to help her. And probably not the right way to do it, but what was he supposed to do? If he like brought it down there and she was just alone, like, in his brain, he's so evil on the outside, he's evil presenting that it did, like, it makes the most sense to have someone evil. That, like, I truly was surprised when he ended up being, like, as he started getting like good, like becoming a good man. I was very evil presenting. I feel that they did a really good job of, like, I was like, why isn't he? Because, like, that's what I was. So when someone had told me that, like, be careful for a triggering part, I was like, what is he gonna do to her? And I just kept, like, every page, like, what is he gonna do to her? I don't know. What is he gonna do to her? And not, and again, I don't want to quantify of like, it wasn't that bad of sexual assault. Like, no, all sexual assault is fucking disgusting and horrible.
Yeah.
But I was genuinely surprised that he ended up doing it for a reason, and I didn't understand why he did it. He wasn't assaulting, and until I realized it, I was like, man, good character building.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Like they built him. I just think like it's gonna take a lot of work now for him to for me to feel safe. I don't feel
safe. Yeah. I mean, where's the trust? I mean, honestly, in all of it, how does she like even like? I'm gonna assume they probably don't, but Catrice, you probably know a lot better. But like, are they going to unravel her trust issues? Because like, also, even though you love Tamlin so much, and I know that he couldn't tell her about it. I know that he was trying to set up all those things so that he could. Okay, they do. Okay, they are. All right, great. Because it was like, how do you trust him again? I'd be like, I don't know. Like, or is there something else you're not telling me about that you can't tell me about? And that's not even like an, oh, I don't trust you. It's like I don't know if I can trust you. And I don't know if I could live in that world then. And the fact that, yes, okay, that's great. Hell yeah, Catrice. Thank you. This is always good writing about trauma. Because it is, I don't know how I would live in that world after that. Not that she had any consent. What if we named the second book A Court of Therapy and Medication?
Yeah. I think that was it, yeah.
Yeah, no, it may as well be. I just think that it's, I don't know, it's very interesting. And I think that writing about like her process in that is going to be cool to read, because I don't think I could handle it. Oh my god, I've just remembered my part, the part that was the scariest, creepiest, devious, was when they ripped off the guy from the Summer Court's wings, and then then he just like died in the Great Hall or whatever. That was horrible.
Oh, that part was so sad.
She was just like, she took my wings. Like, oh, they took my wings. But see, part of me, speaking of wings, I felt my groin flutter when Rhysand's wings started popping, and I was like, ooh.
Oh yeah.
Hi, baby. Hi, my baby. I love you. I love you, baby.
She refuses to not be part of it. She is an emote you can get if you subscribe as well.
Ooh.
There is a mimosa emote.
I want to be Memote. Memote.
Memote.
Memote.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so cute. How did you make that? This is not the time.
My partner made it in Photoshop.
I want to do that.
Yeah. There's also me crying and some champagne glasses.
Then what else do you need? Dog, tears, champagne. Hell yeah. Oh, enjoy them. So yeah, let them play. I'm trying to think about what else I wanted to talk about. I was just really shocked overall that how much they spent building their relationship, and then just that end just kind of got there. Yeah. But I wasn't upset about the end.
No, it was a fine ending. And I think it's interesting that like they can turn people into fairies, because I wasn't even thinking about that as a possibility.
No, I thought that I was like, oh my god, did they really kill her? Because I mean, Game of Thrones, anybody? I'll never forget reading that first book, because I read it before the show came out, and I was like, talk about a book that how many times I would just sit there being like, So I thought she was dead.
Yeah.
And it would have made sense. See, I don't know how I feel, Catrice. How do you feel about reveal that Tamlin was kind of manipulating things to get her to fall in love with him? That's why, I don't know if I would. In real life, I'm sure. No, in book life, I wouldn't get over him. But in real life, I probably would get over it because of what he had done for me and my family. But I don't think that. I think it would take a really long fucking time Book life only. Book life only.
Yeah. Because that's the thing, right? Like, my reaction to the terrible things that Rasan did was way stronger, and I had such like intense feelings about him. Like, I refused to allow myself to like him for a while. Whereas with Tamlin, I kind of just forgave him right away, and I think that says something about the way that the author was writing Feyre's interpretation of everything.
Right. Well, because love, love is not blind. We know it from the television show, but love does blind you. And I do think it does blind you to certain things. I think you still
Thank
don't
you,
like
Kate
him.
Trisha. I still don't like him.
Yeah, love is blurry. It makes you not see things in quite the same way. So I think that like that it was posited in that way from her perspective, so that you would immediately, because she immediately forgives him and that she doesn't trust. But then, like, is she gonna have to spend the 1 week out of the month? Like, is that going to be upheld? What is that going to mean? Is it going to be like the light versus the dark? And is it going to be like the pull of like, do I love this man that saved my life, or do I love this man that saved my life? And I feel like it's going to be. Do you ever see the movie Brooklyn? I feel like it's like, which hot guy do I stay with? Which, fine with it. I know it's not going to be just that, but I know it's going to be I'm assuming it will be partly that.
Partly that, yeah. Although I do kind of like the idea of her having a badman period every month.
Me too. See, that's the thing, is because I have forgiven Rhysand. I have. I understand not, and I think it's better not to. But I think it also goes to show it should be book life only. But
Yeah.
really, it goes to show a lot more of my issues that I've had in the past that I don't think God currently have. Of just like I know he was being bad, but like,
Yeah.
he took care of me, and which I'm not single anymore because I made a lot of bad mistakes when it came to that. I just like to be taken care of, even if they treat me poorly, which is not being taken care of. But we don't need to go into that.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. I mean, like we've said it before, I haven't had a lot of relationships, but I had a couple of very intense ones right at the start, and then one really good one that's lasted a long time. So, like, it's not that I haven't had experiences.
Yes, but also, yes, thank you, Iced Coffee Alien. Now you can get those kicks via romance and smut novels. And I know that, like, I feel like I talk about this a lot of, like, I've been struggling with getting back into reading because in New York I read all the fucking time. Because I was on the subway and I was on the bus, and, like, I kind of stopped reading when I got here. And I'm a huge reader. And so, it is a big part of my life that I've lost. And I really lost it in the pandemic, where I was just like, even though, like, it is the best form of escapism, it is the best form of, like, well, now I can have a naughty experience, but via book. And it's a much safer way to do it. So these books immediately made me start reading again. And I've read 2 other books as well since starting to, and I'm like, this is great. This is exactly, like, this saved my literary life. Just needed a little bit more smut.
Yep. No, yeah, same, right? Because, like, I haven't been reading for a very long time now, because especially, like, when I was in college, it was, like, you have to read plays all the time anyway, so I was taking all of that in. And then I was working, like, 3 jobs all the time. So, well,
yeah.
right? So I have no excuses.
Way.
Right?
Kate Trish, I would love to read this Goodreads synopsis. Do you want to read it aloud? Dottie, I mean, you are the reading mistress now.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Oh no. Oh, now I can hear you, but you're robot again. Robot. Oh no! What did you click out of? Let me see if I can hear you. Oh no, you are a robot for everybody.
Oh no, can everybody hear me on stream now? Because they said they couldn't hear me at all.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Now I can't hear myself, which is fine.
Oh, but now you're still a robot for me. So we'll go back to, I'll mute you over here. I'll listen to you from over here. I'll just be on a delay.
Okay. I'm gonna read this synopsis. Okay. Because now I'm on the microphone and not on the computer microphone, and that's the difference. Okay. Which is good for the reading. So this is fine. Okay. Oh, well, all the audio is great now, he says. All right. Feyre survived Amarantha's clutches to return to the Spring Court, but at a steep cost. Though now she has the powers of the High Fae, her heart remains human, and it can't forget the terrible deeds she performed to save Tanlin's people. Nor has Feyre forgotten her bargain with Rhysand, High Lord of the feared Night Court. As Feyre navigates its dark web of politics, passion, and dazzling power, an even greater evil looms. And she might be key... This is mistyped. And she might be the key to stopping it. But only if she can harness her harrowing gifts, heal her fractured soul, and decide how she wishes to shape her future and the future of a world cleaved in two. With more than 1 million copies sold of her beloved Throne of Glass series, Sarah J. Maas's masterful storytelling brings the second book in her seductive and action-packed series to new heights.
My God. I need it. I need it in my blood. But what are her harrowing gifts going to be?
Can she do a magic? I hope she can do a magic.
She might. She might be able to. I hope so too.
Thank you, Iced Coffee Alien. It's all true. Yeah, I was going to ask everybody. Also, Iced Coffee Alien is asking if we're doing the second book on this stream. If everybody wants to hang out, because usually we do a 3-hour stream, I can start. I'm open to starting if everyone's ready to start. Because I know, Jackie, you've got to head out.
I think that you should jump in. I got to go record page 7.
Yeah. So yeah, you can record page 7, and then if you wanna listen to us later on, there's always a VOD. Reminder for everybody that there's always a VOD.
Oh, you know that I do. You know that I do. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on and talking to me.
Hell yeah. No, I thank you so much. And I really appreciate you guys for talking with me. I got double here. So that my brain then goes into overdrive of Jackie, there's something wrong with the audio. Jackie, there's something wrong with the audio. And I'm like, I know, brain, you gotta shut up. But thank you guys so much for having me. And this was so great. And I'm so excited to continue talking to you guys about the second book, and please keep me updated with where y'all are at. Like I said, mine comes in today, so I'm gonna be very close behind.
Yeah. For sure. And I mean, maybe we'll talk when we're done, and we can have you on again, and we can do another chat, and I'll figure out how to do audio good and not bad.
I would love that. No, it's not, it is a fucking annoying process. You never worry with me. Believe me, Technohazard understands how annoying of this process is, because the only way you know and how you can start trying to do it is while you're alive. Which is very annoying.
Yes. All right. Well, then.
Oh, wait. Keith said the second book is broken into 3 sections, so maybe a check-in at each section. That sounds great.
That sounds good. Okay. We'll talk about it. We'll plan it. and we'll have Jackie back again to have another talk another time. But for now, you've got to go record page 7 so we can all listen to that later. Yay! All right, thank you, Jackie.
Yes. All right, love you guys.
Bye. I'm just gonna go on a be right back
to your
screen.
regular audio.
Yeah.
I love you. Thank you, guys.
All right, I'm back to the main thing. I think everything should work properly now that I'm here. That was so fun. I'm so glad Jackie came on to hang out. I'm sorry that it was rocky because I was trying to figure out how to do the tech. Oh, Jackie's back.
Robot voice. I clicked on the wrong thing.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I should have said goodbye to you, but I clicked out of that instead of out of the Twitch, and I was like, God damn it. How many times I've done that before?
Yeah.
I'm sorry about the audio bullshit.
Ah.
I wish I could more.
No.
No, don't you dare say it. It's not you, it's the computer. So don't you worry. Believe me. I wish that I could help, but it's like it's just a whole other fucking ball game. I would say in the future, maybe if this isn't doing well for you, to try Zoom, because then instead of using the web browser, you just pull up you just put the window up there instead. Yeah. And so then you don't have to. Sometimes this is annoying as fuck. Yeah, and I think that honestly, I think I know for a fact that this specific program was not made for Mac, which is why when Jasmine was teaching me how to do it, when she's like, "You just can't do it on a Mac," I was like, "Let me try." And thusly, but okay, I know you're gonna go read, so I'll let you go. But thank you so much. This was great. And I'd love to do this again, and I would I'm down to do it for everyone. Just have an hour just to fucking talk about it. All right, perfect. Godspeed. I'll talk to you soon.
I know it's a hot mic. I broke it and I didn't know how to unbreak it. I was trying to fix it while we were on. And I'm sorry, Jackie. I hope you don't mind that happened. This would have been so much cleaner if I didn't have to go work my day job directly before we did that. And I would have had time to set it up. But I came here, I sat down, and I was like, we're on. You can tell because I lost 3 nails on my way in. My hands are all uneven and I'm just a fucking mess, but it's all good. I'm just happy to be here with all of you, and to have Jackie on was amazing. And it was great. And I'm so happy. I noticed that my lights aren't even on behind me. It's just my ring light. So it's also super dark in my apartment right now. So I'm going to fix that too before we get started. I can also probably put music on now too for you guys, because we don't have to worry about weird double audio. What's up here? Yeah. All right. So yeah, what did everybody think about that conversation? I hope we answered some of your questions and talked about topics that you wanted to talk about. I think we got to everything I had wanted to talk about. I think the only thing I didn't get to ask, which isn't even really a question, but was maybe I was looking to get some suggestions for jokes about Night Court that Jackie could maybe give me, because I don't know enough about Night Court to make the appropriate Night Court jokes that you all deserve. But maybe next time she's on, we can talk about that. But I do have the next book here and ready on my iPad as soon as I plug it in, and we can start reading. And but yeah, this is just a brief reminder that if you are subscribed, you've got the 3 emotes that I built out. I'm very excited about them. They're all very cute. There are more coming. They're just in process of being approved, but those 3 that are approved are the most important ones. They're the ones I like the most. So you get Mimi, you get Crying Me, and you get the champagne glasses, which are important. Yeah, because you can also the sounds are bits instead of channel points. I have both set up, I thought. Yeah. Pippa, no, there are both. So you have to scroll down in the channel points a little bit to find them. I should edit this, actually, because like I was playing with it and I just threw a whole bunch of shit in there and I made it messy and annoying for you, which I shouldn't have done. But there are like some of the main sounds that like I know we use a lot because I can only do so many for channel points are in there. There are channel points ones, and then there are additional that are for bits. So that's how I've set up the sounds. But if there's a sound that like you absolutely must have in channel points that I didn't put in there, I will gladly switch out something. Because I don't even know what ones are in there right now. Honestly. I think Careless Whisper needs to be in there if it's not in there right now. But yeah, now I can see them. Okay, so yeah, so Stinkin' Witch is there because that's my favorite. It's the Hi Doggy one. Hi Doggy from The Room is in there. There's the Twilight ones are there. So As If You Could Outrun Me and Loca are both there. There's a cat that says no. A cat that goes no. In fact, can I play it? Oh, it wants me to log into Twitch on my own fucking OBS? Come on, man. 10 to 15 bit, that seems incorrect. I wouldn't have done that to you. See what I mean? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a silly person. I don't know. I'll make adjustments. I don't want you to have to pay through the nose to play a sound. That's insane. Here's what I'll do now that I have the internet. I have control of my internet. Go to my own channel. There's a couple 5s too, but all bits. Oops, all bits. Yeah, no, you can do it in channel points. It's like the 5th row down though of choices. You scroll down and it's like past there being like there's a send a message thing and then the ones that are just purple with the little balls. See, because I can click it there. It's 500 channel points, but that's sort of the standard.
Hi, doggy.
See? I did that with channel points. So it's there. It's not, I didn't make it easy. I made it annoying for you. So that is a thing. So yeah, that's what I did. I made it annoying and stupid. I made it annoying and stupid. But I'll fix it. I'll fix it for all of you because I love you and I want to make it fun. I don't want to make it expensive and dumb. Don't normally watch myself. It's very weird. I have myself over here in this monitor. I don't like it. I like looking at me. Okay. Cool. What else are we gonna do here before we get started? Great, my chapter tracker is still here. It is, for those of you that noticed, it's because I built this element as I guess rather than I copied it. I made it a reference, and it erased my name data and put a chapter tracker in instead of my name data. So I'm like Techno Hazard 2.0 because I also overcomplicated this for myself in a lot of ways. So we're on chapter 1 of this book. How many chapters are in this book? It won't tell me. The other one had a table of contents. Why is there no table of contents in this book? Sarah J. Maas, what are you doing to me? Oh, wow. Okay. That's really cool. Okay, so when you swipe back in A Court of Thorns and Roses, it just swipes right to the next book. That's cool. I don't know why it does. I don't like technology anymore. I've given up on it. Give me a paper book. Give me a paper book any day. There we go. There it is. So this has a lot more chapters. Holy moly macaroni. There's still, oh, guys. There's 69 chapters. Nice. It's the funny sex number. You think she did that on purpose, or you think it was a genuine accident? I like to imagine she was like, oh, you know, it's a sexy book. Sexy book, sexy chapter number. Yeah. All right, guys. We are here. There is a, I wouldn't even say it's a chapter. Yeah, no, this isn't a chapter. This is like a, what's the word for it? It's not a foreword because it's not written by anybody. It's like a preface. I don't know. It doesn't say on it, so I don't know what to call it. What does she want to call it? It's not even in the contents. It's like, I'm gonna read it. Whatever this is, I'm gonna read it. Maybe I'd always been broken and dark inside. Maybe someone who'd been born whole and good would have put down the ash dagger and embraced death rather than what lay before me. There was blood everywhere. It was an effort to keep a grip on the dagger as my blood-soaked hand trembled, as I fractured bit by bit while the sprawled corpse of the high fae youth cooled on the marble floor. I couldn't let go of the blade, couldn't move from my place before him. Good, Amarantha purred from her throne. Again. So this is like a flashback. There was another ash dagger waiting, and another fae kneeling. Female. I knew the words she'd say, the prayer she'd recite. I knew I'd slaughter her as I'd slaughtered the youth before me. To free them all, to free Tamlin, I would do it. I was the butcher of innocence and the savior of a land. Whenever you're ready, lovely Feyre, Amarantha drawled, her deep red hair as bright as the blood on my hands, on the marble. Murderer, butcher, monster, liar, deceiver. I didn't know who I meant. The lines between me and the queen had long since blurred. My fingers loosened on the dagger, and it clattered to the ground, splattering the spreading pool of blood. Flecks splashed onto my worn boots, remnants of a mortal life so far behind me it might as well have been one of my fever dreams these last few months. I faced the female waiting for death, that hood sagging over her head, her lithe body steady. Braced for the end I was to give her, the sacrifice she was to become. I reached for the second ash dagger atop a black velvet pillow, its hilt icy in my warm, damp hand. The guards yanked off her hood. I knew the face that stared up at me, knew the blue-gray eyes, the brown-gold hair, the full mouth and sharp cheekbones, knew the ears that had now become delicately arched, the limbs that had been streamlined, limbed with power. Any human imperfections smoothed into a subtle, immortal glow. Knew the hollowness, the despair, the corruption that leaked from that face. My hands didn't tremble as I angled the dagger. As I gripped the fine-boned shoulder and gazed into that hated face, my face, and plunged the ash dagger into my awaiting heart. So I guess that's like a dream or something she's having about herself. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm gonna pop over here, guys. I'm just gonna change the title since Jackie is no longer on stream. I should no longer be advertising that she is. Because now we're also no longer on a court of thorns and roses, but a court of mist and fury. Should have said that. I like to put emojis in my titles, and there is no good one for Mist and Fury that doesn't look stupid. So I'm going to have to, or that I can pick out right away. So we're going to have to think about that. If you've got emoji suggestions, I'm taking them. All right, so we're going to begin part one. I have no idea how long part one is. I don't know why it's in sections. We're going to find out together. I think that so far, just like sort of looking at it briefly, it's going to be similar to the last book where you're going to get like your shorty little chapters, and then you're also going to get your big old chunky ones. And we're just going to have to play it by ear on how many we're going to get done at any given time. So we are in chapter 1, and it starts off just so beautifully, friends. I vomited into the toilet, hugging the cool sides, trying to contain the sounds of my retching. Thanks. Nice first sentence. Moonlight leaked into the massive marble bathing room, providing the only illumination as I was quietly, thoroughly sick. Tamlin hadn't stirred as I jolted awake, and when I hadn't been able to tell the darkness of my chamber from the endless night of Amarantha's dungeons, when the cold sweat coating me felt like the blood of those fairies I'd hurdled for the bathing room. I'd been here for 15 minutes now, waiting for the retching to subside, for the lingering tremors to spread apart and fade like ripples in a pool. Panting, I braced myself over the bowl, counting each breath. Only a nightmare, one of many, asleep and waking, that haunted me these days. It had been 3 months since Under the Mountain, 3 months of adjusting to my immortal body, to a world struggling to piece itself together after Amarantha had fractured it apart. I focused on my breathing, in through my nose, out through my mouth, over and over. When it seemed like I was done heaving, I eased from the toilet, but didn't go far. Just to the adjacent wall, near the cracked window, where I could see the night sky, where the breeze could caress my sticky face. One second here. There, Ice Coffee Alien, you now get your alert on the screen for following. Thank you. Thank you for following. I really appreciate it. I don't know why my thingy is broken and why it was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. But I saw that and I said, that should have happened already. You saw it earlier. Well, I didn't see it. Damn you. Internet, damn you. See what I mean? Technology needs to go and just work. Just work for me. Okay, back to reading the chapter. Jumping back yet. Jesus Christ. Just to the adjacent wall, near the cracked window, where I could see the night sky, where the breeze could caress my sticky face, I leaned my head against the wall, flattening my hands against the chill marble floor. Real. This was real. I had survived. I'd made it out. Unless it was a dream. Just a fever dream in Amarantha's dungeons. And I'd awaken back in that cell and... I curled my knees to my chest. Real. Real. I mouthed the words. I kept mouthing them until I could loosen my grip on my legs and lift my head. Pain splintered through my hands. I'd somehow curled them into fists, so tight my nails were close to puncturing my skin. Immortal strength, more a curse than a gift. I dented and folded every piece of silverware I'd touched for 3 days upon returning here. Had tripped over my longer, faster legs so often that Alice had removed any irreplaceable valuables from my rooms. She'd been particularly grumpy about me knocking over a table with an 800-year-old vase. And had shattered not 1, not 2, but 5 glass doors merely by accidentally closing them too hard. Sighing through my nose, I unfolded my fingers. My right hand was plain, smooth, perfectly fey. I tilted my left hand over, the whirls of dark ink coating my fingers, my wrist, my forearm, all the way to the elbow, soaking up the darkness of the room. The eye etched into the center of my palm seemed to watch me, calm and cunning as a cat. Its slitted pupil wider than it had been earlier that day, as if it adjusted to the light, as any ordinary eye would. I scowled at whoever might be watching through that tattoo. I hadn't heard from Rhys in the 3 months I'd been here. Not a whisper. I hadn't dared ask Tamlin or Lucian or anyone, lest it'd somehow summon the High Lord of the Night Court, somehow remind him of the fool's bargain I'd struck under the mountain. 1 week with him every month in exchange for his saving me from the brink of death. But even if Rhys had miraculously forgotten, I never could. Nor could Tamlin, Lucian, or anyone else. Not with the tattoo. Even if Rhys, at the end, even if he hadn't been exactly an enemy. To Tamlin, yes. To every other court out there, yes. So few went over the borders of the Night Court and lived to tell. No one really knew what existed in the northernmost part of Prythian. Mountains and darkness and stars and death. But I hadn't felt like Rasan's enemy the last time I'd spoken to him, in the hours after Amaranth's defeat. I'd told no one about that meeting, what he'd said to me, what I'd confessed to him. Be glad of your human heart, Feyre. Pity those who don't feel anything at all. I squeezed my fingers into a fist, blocking out that eye, the tattoo. I uncoiled to my feet and flushed the toilet before padding to the sink to rinse out my mouth, then wash my face. Also, do we want to comment on the fact that they have indoor plumbing? Like, I guess it's a fantasy world. It's not Earth, but it's clearly like sort of medieval modeled, and they've got indoor plumbing. So good for them. They have a modern working toilet. Yes, this is a very modern toilet. Like, I don't think people in the 40s even had a toilet as nice as this toilet. It's a fantasy-ass toilet. I wished I'd felt nothing. I wished my human heart had been changed with the rest of me, made into immortal marble, instead of the shredded bit of blackness that it now was, leaking its ichor into me. Tamlin remained asleep as I crept back into my darkened bedroom. His naked body sprawled across the mattress. Hey! We're starting out with naked Tamlin. I'm into it. For a moment, I just admired the powerful muscles of his back, so lovingly traced by the moonlight, his golden hair, mussed with sleep, and the fingers I'd run through it while we made love earlier. Oh, okay. Okay. For him, I had done this. For him, I'd gladly wrecked myself and my immortal soul. And now I had eternity to live with it. I continued to the bed, each step heavier, harder. The sheets were now cool and dry, and I slipped in, curling my back to him, wrapping my arms around myself. His breathing was deep, even, but with my fey ears. With my fey ears! Look with your special eyes. Sorry, no, that's not what's happening here. Don't quote commercials at people. What are you doing? But with my fey ears, sometimes I wondered if I heard his breath catch, only for a heartbeat. I never had the nerve to ask if he was awake. He never woke when the nightmares dragged me from sleep. Never woke when I vomited my guts up night after night. If he knew or heard, he said nothing about it. I knew similar dreams chased him from his slumber as often as I fled from mine. My brand! Pausing for a second, I do very often just shout, my brand! Because when you're brand loyal, it's a big deal. Okay. Where was I? Damn it. There we go. This song is always so weird when it comes to my headphones because it's like very high pitched. So often. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I knew similar dreams chased him from his slumber as often as I fled from mine. The first time it had happened, I'd awoken, tried to speak to him, but he'd shaken off my touch, his skin clammy, and had shifted into that beast of fur and claws and horns and fangs. He'd spent the rest of the night sprawled across the foot of the bed, monitoring the door, the wall of the windows, the wall of windows, the wall of windows! What was that? I don't know. It sounded like something like a place you would go. Oh, look, it's the mystical wall of windows. It's not, it's just a wall. I have a wall of windows. So he just slept at the foot of the bed like a dog? Come on, man. Don't be like that. That's right, K-Trisha. To the wall of windows! To the wall! Oh, skeet, skeet. Oh. I usually skip that part when I sing it. For no good reason. It's probably the best part. Uh-huh. Yep. He'd since spent many nights like that. He likes to be the dog at the foot of the bed. I guess there's nothing wrong with that, but dude. Get him a doggy bed. Curled in the bed, I pulled the blanket higher, craving its warmth against the chill night. It'd become our unspoken agreement, not to let Amarantha win by acknowledging that she still tormented us in our dreams and waking hours. I don't think that's how healing works. It was easier to not have to explain anyway. To not have to tell him that though I'd freed him, saved his people and all of Prithian from Amarantha, I'd broken myself apart. And I didn't think even eternity would be long enough to fix me. Well, a good way to do that would be to try. And I'm not openly judging her. I'm just suggesting. That is chapter 1. Quite short. See, this is what I mean. Short chapter, followed by a big ol' honkin' chapter that suggests we got 38 minutes of reading to do. Yes, see, very short first chapter. And then you've got chapter 2 that's just like super long. But I think we got time for it. It's only 7:30. I am gonna take 1 second. I'm gonna feed my dog a food because she's hungry and looking at me. Because I didn't have time to feed her before. So, y'all chill. I'll be right back. No! No, why do you do this? Come on. She does actually get exactly one food because it's like a pre-portioned thingy. Partially because they're good for her, and then also because they're extremely simple for me to have to worry about. So each meal is one thingy. She gets a one food. But I don't know if that got picked up on mic or not. But she ate my damn sweater. That's what she was doing over on the couch while I was here. I was like, oh, she's being quite quiet and well behaved. I hear a little bit of chewing, but she had her toy earlier, and I was like, that'll be fine. She ate my damn sweater. Now I have to stitch it up. Luckily, it's like my sitting around the house being a lazy loaf sweater, so it's fine. Yeah, super rude. I just got reminded because I did muted. All my levels are showing up. It's just for you, Sote. It's just you. So, did you turn the volume down on me and start to say rude things? Are you pretending to be me and being like, oh, Dottie's stupid. Look at how I'm Dottie and I say dumb things about me. I'm a big dumb idiot. Oh, here's the joke. You don't have to turn the sound down and make me say rude things about myself, because I will say rude things about myself openly to anyone who will listen. Because I love me, but I also hate me. I have a healthy dislike and like of myself. My ego is very balanced. Aw, Pippa, thank you. I often say I am perfect and I am also garbage. The chat's not lined up. It's bugging me so much. See, it shouldn't bug me. Ugh, my brain. Hey, sweater eater. Yeah, you just burp at everybody. Sure. Okay, fine. Trying to turn my lights on. They're not turning on. Hey, Demon Whiskey Neck. How you doing? You just missed the chat with Jackie a little while ago where we talked about book one. So there's no direct spoilers, although we are reading book two now. So depending on how you feel about that. Oh, the fairy has just attacked the sisters. Okay. Yeah, that's, I won't ruin it for you, but that's important. Clearly it's important. It's a big pivotal moment. You can tell that by reading the book. But yeah, that's still pretty early on. A lot's going to happen for you. We are about to go into chapter 2 of book 2, A Court of Mist and Fury. Right, Dean Whiskey, yes. These fairies are interesting. Now I will be upfront, and I've been upfront before that, like, lol, the fairy attacked the sisters. That's whatever. Thanks, Katricia. Yeah, like, I mean, I haven't read a ton of like explicitly like high fantasy like series that have like fairies as the main whatever channel. Like as the main focus. Does that make sense? So I'm not sure about like all of the mythology and the lore. I know like basically like folklore and stuff, just from being white. You hear about it. Being Scottish, there's not as much fairy stuff as if like I grew up in an Irish family, but there's still some. Oh, really inspirational for you, Demon Whiskey. That's great. That's good. I'm glad that it's like lining up with what you're working on. That's always nice when you like something that's like interesting within like a group that you're talking with or whatever, or like that you just pick up starts informing things for you. It's really useful. Like I like that when I'm working on my art, right? When I pick up a new book or I watch a new show or something and it's like, oh, I was just thinking about trying to like work out this like concept for an act or something, and then I see a character or whatever and I'm like, that one, that person, that's who I need to work on, right? Or pretend to be. Kate Tricia says the Dresden Files is a series of fairies, but they aren't the main focus. There's some OG don't trust the fae ass fairies. Oh, okay. See, like I've heard the Dresden Files before, but I know literally nothing about it, and I'm sure that like in hearing that I would have just gone, oh, that's like a cop show. Not to mention the fact that Dresden is like a town not very far away from the town I grew up in. In fact, it's where my grandma was born. It's like a tiny, like little farming town. And so I hear Dresden and I just think of like, oh, that like shitty tiny town. I can get anything from everything because I'm always thinking of this story. Well, I mean, that's the writer's life, right? Is that you're just like constantly thinking about your story and how it relates to the world, right? And that's why you've got to write it, because it's living inside you. Kate Tricia says the phrase is brilliantly written. It's a wizard detective, and he gets sexy. Damn! That sounds great. Why didn't I read and or watch this? Yes, it's alive. You're correct. Yeah, no, I don't know why I've never read that series. That sounds like exactly the kind of thing that I would have been very into. But no, I just dismissed it offhand or never really cared enough to look into it. So there's that. So yeah, if we're going to get through this chapter, because we're going to read chapter 2, and it's probably going to be the last chapter of the night because it's quite long. Oh yeah, I'm not surprised there would be some problematic stuff in the late 90s. But yeah. And I mean, and once again, like just like we just talked about with Jackie earlier, this is book life. It's books. Right? So we can take that and be aware that it's like this is not good. We're not excusing it, but we can read it and live through it. And obviously if there are things that are personally triggering for you, then you shouldn't read it, but you have to go in informed and just be aware that it's like there are goods and there are bads, and it doesn't mean that you just throw the book out because it's got something in it you don't agree with. There are plenty of things that are worth reading that have lots of very terrible things in them. And if all books were all happy and good and perfect all the time, then they wouldn't be very interesting, would they? So is that a good way to explain what I'm trying to say, or do I sound like an idiot? Probably sound dumb. I love that we're forming this really neat base for a community interested in writing. I'm going to peace out and writing a bit before I go see Nick Cave in LA. Oh, have so much fun. That sounds really cool. Oh my God. Yeah, no, go hang out and write a bit, and then go see Nick Cave and have a great time in Los Angeles, where I want to be right now because it's fucking cold here, in Toronto, and have a great time. Thanks for popping in. And yes, the story must be told. It must be. We're all artsy people, so we all understand the need to tell stories. Katricia says it's not even that he does bad things, it's the way he talks about women is a little she boobily walked in with her boobs and her legs went all the way up to her boobs. I'm okay with that. If it's just talking about how sexy a sexy lady is, it's like you're not talking about a real woman, and so it's still problematic, but it's less so, if that makes sense. I think the way that you need to balance it out is that you also then need to have strong well-written, fully like formed female characters in your writing as well, and then you can say whatever. Hell yeah, we do. Hail yourselves. I heard that read before I go. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, like, yeah, you can do the, like, this is just a sex pot person, and you can do that with male characters too, but you have to balance it out with strong, well-rounded characters of both genders and all genders, if possible. She boobed into the room breastily. Yeah. Because you can be damn sexy and boob into all the rooms and also be interesting and intelligent and well-rounded and fully formed. As somebody who regularly walks into rooms, and I'm not saying I have big tits because I don't, but if I'm at a show, I would love to boobily walk into a room because that's the intention. Doesn't always work, but it's there. Okay, so we're gonna start chapter 2 now, because if we're gonna get it done at a decent hour, we should get it done now. But I will also note that this starts out with a temper tantrum, which just shows she is still quite young, is she not? Like, we better not forget that Feyre is 19, maybe 20 now, right? She's like young. Right, so we don't need to give her the credit of being like a full, like, 30-year-old woman or anything, or even 27. She's in her early 20s or late teens at this point. I don't know who's talking, though. Shit. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. By scanning here, I think I know who's talking, and I'm gonna assume that I'm doing it right. Yeah. Is this correct? I'm getting a weird alert. I think an ad might be about to roll, and I don't know how to not do that. So, thank you, Twitch, for doing that. I'm just gonna read. Guys. I want to go. No. I crossed my arms, tucking my tattooed hand under my right bicep, and spread my feet slightly further apart on the dirt floor of the stables. It's been 3 months. Nothing's happened, and the village isn't even 5 miles. No. The mid-morning sun, streaming through the stable doors, burnished Tamlin's golden hair as he finished buckling the bandolier of daggers across his chest. His face, ruggedly handsome, exactly as I'd dreamed it during those long months he'd worn a mask, was set, his lips a thin line. Behind him, already atop his dapple gray horse... See, I think I did it wrong. I think I reversed it. Already atop his dapple gray horse, along with 3 other Fey Lord sentries, Lucian silently shook his head in warning, his metal eye narrowing. Don't push him, he seemed to say. But as Tamlin strode toward where his black stallion had already been saddled, I gritted my teeth and stormed after him. The village needs all the help it can get. And we're still hunting down Amarantha's beasts, he said, mounting his horse in one fluid motion. Sometimes I wondered if the horses were just to maintain an appearance of civility, of normalcy. To pretend that he couldn't run faster than them, didn't live with one foot in the forest. His green eyes were like chips of ice as the stallion started into a walk. I don't have the sentries to spare to escort you. I lunged for the bridle. I don't need an escort. My grip tightened on the leather as I tugged the horse to a stop. and the golden ring on my finger, along with the square-cut emerald glittering on top it, flashed in the sun. Okay, so we're using this weird fight they're in as an excuse to talk about her ring. I don't know. Maybe it'll not be as awkwardly put in here. I don't know. It just seems a little shoehorned. Here we go. It had been 2 months since Tamlin had proposed. 2 months of enjoying presentations about flowers and clothes and seating arrangements and food. I had a small reprieve a week ago, thanks to the winter solstice, though I traded contemplating lace and silk for selecting evergreen wreaths and garlands. Oh, they do Christmas? But at least it had been a break. 3 days of feasting and drinking and exchanging small presents, culminating in a long, rather odious ceremony atop the foothills on the longest night to escort us from one year to another as the sun died and was born anew. Or something like that. Celebrating a winter holiday in a place that was permanently entrenched in spring hadn't done much to improve my general lack of festive cheer. I hadn't particularly listened to the explanations of its origins, and the Fae themselves debated whether it had emerged from the winter court or day court. Both now claimed it as their holiest holiday. All I really knew was that I'd had to endure 2 ceremonies, one at sunset to begin that endless night of presents and dancing and drinking in honor of the old sun's death, and one at the following dawn, bleary-eyed and feet aching, to welcome the sun's rebirth. Solstice! It was bad enough that I'd been required to stand before the gathered courtiers and lesser fairies while Tamlin made his many toasts and salutes. Mentioning that my birthday had also fallen on that longest night of the year. Wait, Feyre's birthday is the winter solstice? That's my birthday. So... we share a birthday! We're birthday twins! We're birthday twins! I'm birthday twins with Feyre. That's exciting for me. Oh, we both have the worst birthday. Yeah! All right. Oh, I know I'm so not like the other girls. Ugh. Yeah. I don't know why that got me so excited, but I just love when other people have like the same or almost the same birthday as me. It gets me really excited. I like to share it with friends. It's fine. And fictional characters, I guess. Mentioning that my birthday had also fallen on that longest night of the year was a fact I'd conveniently forgotten to tell anyone. I'd received enough presents anyway, and would no doubt receive many, many more on my wedding day. I had little use for so many things. Now, only 2 weeks stood between me and the ceremony. If I didn't get out of the manor, if I didn't have a day to do something other than spend Tamlin's money, I'd be groveled too. What? I've got nothing to do all day but spend all this money and have everybody love me. Ugh. My life is so hard. I'm sorry. I know, she's dealing with a lot. But yeah. I don't have anything to do. I just spend money all day. I'm such a girl. I just shop. How do you even spend his money? You can't go anywhere. So what are you doing? Like having people come to you and you buy things from them when they come to you? You don't have online shopping. I don't understand. She needs scarves. Oh, she's such a Blair. Please, the recovery efforts are so slow. I could hunt for the villagers, get them food. It's not safe, Tamlin said, again nudging his stallion into a walk. The horse's coat shone like a dark mirror, even in the shade of the stables. Especially not for you. He'd said that every time we had this argument. Every time I begged him to let me go to the nearby village of High Fae. So wait, the village is named High Fae? You can't come up with a better name for your village, guys. That's like if there was a village near me called Human. This is the village of people. Do you know what lives here? People. Creativity is lacking in the fake community, apparently. Jeez Louise. I begged him to let me go to the nearby village of High Fae to help rebuild what Amarantha had burned years ago. I followed him into the bright, cloudless day beyond the stables, the grasses coating the nearby foothills undulating in the soft breeze. People want to come back. They want a place to live. Those same people see you as a blessing, a marker of stability. If something happened to you, he cut himself off as he halted his horse at the edge of the dirt path that would take him toward the eastern woods, Lucian now waiting a few yards down it. There's no point in rebuilding anything if Amarantha's creatures tear through the lands and destroy it again. The wards are up. Some slipped in before the wards were repaired. Lucian hunted down 5 Naga yesterday. Oh. I whipped my head toward Lucian, who winced. He hadn't told me that at dinner last night. He'd lied when I'd asked him why he was limping. My stomach turned over. Not just at the lie, but Naga. Sometimes I dreamed of their blood showering me as I killed them, of their leering serpentine faces while they tried to fillet me in the woods. Tamlin said softly, I can't do what I need to if I'm worrying about whether you're safe. Of course I'll be safe. As a High Fae, with my strength and speed, I'd stand a good chance of getting away if something happened. Please just do this for me, Tamlin said, stroking his stallion's thick neck as the beast nickered with impatience. The others had already moved their horses into easy canters, the first of them nearly within the shade of the woods. Tamlin jerked his chin toward the alabaster estate looming behind me. I'm sure there are things to help with around the house. Or you could paint. Try out that new set I gave you for winter solstice. There was nothing but wedding planning waiting for me in the house, since Alice refused to let me lift a finger to do anything. Not because of who I was to Tamlin, what I was about to become to Tamlin, but because of what I'd done for her boys, for Prithian. All the servants were the same. Some still cried with gratitude when they passed me in the halls. And as for painting, fine, I breathed. I made myself look him in the eye, made myself smile. Be careful, I said, and meant it. The thought of him going out there, hunting the monsters that had once served Amarantha. I love you, Tamlin said quietly. I nodded, murmuring it back as he trotted to where Lucian still waited, the emissary now frowning slightly. I didn't watch them go. I took my time retreating through the hedges of the gardens, the spring birds chirping merrily, gravel crunching under my flimsy shoes. I hated the bright dresses that had become my daily uniform, but didn't have the heart to tell Tamlin. Not when he'd bought so many. Not when he looked so happy to see me wear them. Not when his words weren't far from the truth. The day I put on my pants and tunics, the day I strapped weapons to myself like fine jewelry, it would send a message far and clear across the lands. So I wore the gowns and let Alice arrange my hair. If only so it would buy these people a measure of peace and comfort. At least Tamlin didn't object to the dagger I kept at my side, hanging from a jeweled belt. Lucian had gifted both to me. The dagger during the months before Amarantha, belt in the weeks after her downfall, when I'd carried the dagger along with many others everywhere I went. "You might as well look good if you're going to arm yourself to the teeth," he'd said. But even if stability reigned for 100 years, I doubted I'd ever awoken one morning and not put on the knife. 100 years. I had that. I had centuries ahead of me. Centuries with Tamlin. Centuries in this beautiful, quiet place. Perhaps I'd sort myself out sometime along the way. Perhaps not. I paused before the stairs leading up into the rose and ivy-covered house, and peeked toward the right, toward the formal rose garden and the windows just beyond it. I'd only set foot in that room, my old painting studio, once, when I'd first returned. And all those paintings, all the supplies, all that blank canvas waiting for me to pour out stories and feelings and dreams, I'd hated it. I'd walked out moments later and hadn't returned since. I'd stopped cataloging color and feeling and texture, stopped noticing it. I could barely look at the paintings hanging inside the manor. That's depression. So we're identifying now that. Because that's loss of interest, and that sucks. I've been there. A sweet female voice trilled my name from inside the open doors of the manor, and the tightness in my shoulders eased a bit. Ianthe, the High Priestess, as well as a High Fae noble and childhood friend of Tamlin's, who had taken it upon herself to help plan the wedding festivities, and who had taken it upon herself to worship me and Tamlin as if we were newly minted gods, blessed and chosen by the cauldron itself. But I didn't complain, not when Ianthe knew everyone in the court and outside of it. She'd linger by my side at events and dinners, feeding me details about those in attendance, and was the main reason why I'd survived the merry whirlwind of winter solstice. She'd been the one presiding over the various ceremonies, after all, and I'd been more than happy to let her choose what manner of wreaths and garlands should adorn the manor and grounds, what silverware complemented each meal. Beyond that, while Tamlin was the one who paid for my everyday clothes, it was Ianthe's eye that selected them. She was the heart of her people, ordained by the hand of the goddess to lead them from despair and darkness. I was in no position to doubt. She hadn't led me astray yet, and I'd learned to dread the days when she was busy at her own temple on the grounds, overseeing pilgrims and her acolytes. Today, though, yes, spending time with Ianthe was better than the alternative. I bunched the gauzy skirts of my dawn pink gown in a hand and ascended the marble steps into the house. Next time, I promised myself. Next time, I'd convince Tamlin to let me go to the village. Oh, we can't let her sit next to him. They'd rip each other to shreds, and then we'd have blood ruining the table linens. Beneath her pale blue-gray hood, Ianthe furrowed her brow, crinkling the tattoo of the various stages of a moon's cycle stamped across it. She scribbled out the name she'd dashed onto one of the seating charts moments before. The day had turned warm, the room a bit stuffy, even with the breeze. Oh, thank you, Katricia. We're gonna see if I can maintain it. We're gonna give it a shot. The day had turned warm, the room a bit stuffy, even with the breeze through the open windows, and yet the heavy hooded robe remained on. All the high priestesses wore the billowing, artfully twisted and layered robes, though they certainly were far from matronly. Ianthe's slim waist was on display with a fine belt of sky blue. Limpid stones. What's a limpid stone? Limpid stone. Limpid stones, each perfectly oval and held in shining silver, and atop her hood sat a matching circlet, a delicate band of silver with a large stone at its center. A panel of cloth had been folded up beneath the circlet, a built-in swath meant to be pulled over the brow and eyes when she needed to pray. Beseech the cauldron and mother, or just think. My auntie had shown me once what the panel looked like when down. Only her nose and full, sensuous mouth visible. Oh, sensuous mouth. The voice of the cauldron. I'd found the image unsettling, that merely covering the upper part of her face had somehow turned the bright, cunning female into an effigy, into something other. Mercifully, she kept it folded back most of the time. Occasionally, she even took the hood off entirely to let the sun play in her long, gently curling golden hair. Whoosh, she's a blonde. Ianthe's silver rings gleamed atop her manicured fingers as she wore another name down. She wrote another name, wore another name down. Why would I think it said that? Come on, brain. Also, everybody's blonde. Why is everyone blonde? I guess maybe just to make the other hair colors like really striking. Because they say most of the courts are blonde. No, maybe not most. Maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know. Anyway, lots of blondes. Well, Feyre has golden brown hair, which is approaching blonde. In fact, the description of her hair is quite similar to like what my natural hair is and what like a lot of my family have. So I know what they're talking about. I think. And yeah, it can be. I'm not sure. No, it's golden brown is how she describes it all the time. So it's like if it's like what I think it's like, if she were to go out in the sun for a very long time and like it would go almost blonde. Probably. Yeah, and I have noticed that, Katricia, there is a lot of like the picture on the cover and like other art and stuff is like sometimes it's like this reddish brown, and then other times it's like very clearly the golden brown that like that I read and that I also see in other art. So it depends. And this is like I'm talking like official like stuff that comes out from the publisher or whatever that I was seeing on the internet. Because I gotta stop Googling this book. I gotta stop. Because I'm not even looking for anything specific, and I'm trying to not read anything. I'm trying to not look at anything, but it's like I'm looking for specific stuff. I'm not good enough at Google, so I just do a general Google and then try to be like, I don't understand what that means. I don't understand what that means. I don't understand what that means. Ignore. It comes up in my bad Google. I'm bad at I need somebody else to do it for me so they can just, I don't know. I don't know anybody who will do that. So it's all right. It doesn't matter. It's fine. It's fine. I'm okay. And I also, and I've said this before, like I'm not super concerned about spoilers. I never have been, because I'm in it for the journey. It's better if I'm not spoiled, obviously, for obvious reasons. But if I do get a little spoiled, it's not like I get real mad. Because I'm in it for the journey of how they get there. Okay. Anyway. Ianthe's silver rings gleamed atop her manicured fingers as she wrote another name down. It's like a game, she said, sighing through her pert nose. All these pieces vying for power or dominance, willing to shed blood if need be. It must be a strange adjustment for you. Such elegance and wealth, yet the savagery remained. The high fae weren't the tittering nobility of the mortal world. No, if they feuded, it would end with someone being ripped to bloody ribbons. Literally. Once I trembled to share breathing space with them. I flexed my fingers, stretching and losing my lips. Stretching and contorting the tattoos etched into my skin. Now I could fight alongside them, against them. Not that I tried. I was too watched, too monitored and judged. Why should the bride of the High Lord learn to fight if peace had returned? That had been Ianthe's reasoning when I'd made the mistake of mentioning it at dinner. Tamlin, to his credit, had seen both sides. I'd learned to protect myself, but the rumors would spread. Humans aren't much better, I told her at last. And because Ianthe was about the only one of my new companions who didn't look particularly stunned or frightened by me, I tried to make conversation and said, "My sister Nesta would likely fit right in." Ianthe cocked her head, the sunlight setting the blue stone atop her hood glittering. "Will your mortal kin be joining us?" No. I hadn't thought to invite them. Hadn't wanted to expose them to Prythian, or to what I'd become. She tapped a long, slender finger on the table. "But they live so close to the wall, don't they? If it was important for you to have them here, Tamlin and I could ensure their safe journey." In the hours we'd spent together, I told her about the village and the house my sisters now lived in, about Isaac Hale and Thomas Mandray. I hadn't been able to mention Claire Bador, or what had happened to her family. For all that she'd hold her own, I said, fighting past the memory of that human girl and what had been done to her. My sister Nesta detests your kind. "Our kind," Ianthe corrected quietly. "We've discussed this." I just nodded. But she went on. "We are old and cunning and enjoy using words like blades and claws. Every word from your mouth, every turn of phrase will be judged and possibly used against you." As if to soften the warning, she added, "Be on your guard, lady." Lady. A nonsense name. No one knew what to call me. I wasn't born high fae. I'd been made, resurrected and given this new body by the 7 High Lords of Prythian. I was Tamlin's mate, as far as I knew. There was no mating bond between us. Yet. Honestly, Ianthe, with her bright gold hair, those teal eyes, elegant features, and supple body, looked more like Tamlin's mate, his equal. A union with Tamlin, a High Lord and a High Priestess, would send a clear message of strength to any possible threats to our land. And secure the power Ianthe was no doubt keen on building for herself. Among the High Fae, the priestesses oversaw their ceremonies and rituals, recorded their histories and legends, and advised their lords and ladies in matters great and trivial. I hadn't witnessed any magic from her, but when I'd asked Lucian, he'd frowned and said their magic was drawn from their ceremonies and could be utterly lethal should they choose it. I'd watched her on the winter solstice for any signs of it, marking the way she'd positioned herself so that the rising sun filled her uplifted arms. But there had been no ripple or thrum of power from her or the earth beneath us. I didn't know what I'd really expected from Ianthe, one of the 12 high priestesses who together governed their sisters across every territory in Prythian. Ancient, celibate, and quiet had been the extent of my expectations, thanks to those whispered mortal legends, when Tamlin had announced that his old friend was soon to occupy and renovate the crumbling temple complex on our lands. But Ianthe had breezed into our house the next morning, and those expectations had immediately been trampled. Especially the celibate part. Ooh, okay. So, there's just like this sexy, witchy group of ladies that all sound very attractive. Okay. Priestesses could marry, bear children, and dally as they would. It would dishonor the cauldron's gift of fertility to lock up their instincts. Their inherent female magic in bearing life, Ianthe had once told me. So while the 7 High Lords ruled Prythian from thrones, the 12 High Priestesses reigned from the altars, their children as powerful and respected as any lord's offspring. And Ianthe, the youngest High Priestess in 3 centuries, remained unmarried, childless, and keen to enjoy the finest males the land had to offer. Okay. I like her. I'm okay with this. Although it is implied quite strongly that she may be into Tamlin trying to take him for herself, and that's rude. But hot. I'd watch it. I often wondered what it was like to be that free and so settled within yourself. When I didn't respond to her gentle reprimand, she said, "Have you given any thought to what color roses? White, pink, yellow, red?" "Not red." I hated that color more than anything. Amaranth's hair, all that blood, the welts on Clairvador's broken body, spiked to the walls of Under the Mountain. Russet could be pretty with all the green, but maybe that's too autumn court. Again, that finger tapped on the table. Whatever color you want. If I were being blunt with myself, I'd admit that... Oh, sorry, the way this is written, it cuts her name off so that it looked like she just called her Ian, and I was like, is that like a shortened nickname? Are we gonna call her Ian now? That's not a very good nickname for this woman. But no, that's not what's happening. I'd admit that Ianthe had become a crutch, but she seemed willing to do it, caring when I couldn't bring myself to. Yet Ianthe's brows lifted slightly. Despite being a high priestess, she and her family had escaped the horrors of Under the Mountain by running. Her father, one of Tamlin's strongest allies amongst the Spring Court and a captain in his forces, had sensed trouble coming and packed off Ianthe, her mother, and 2 younger sisters to Valahan, one of the countless fairy territories across the ocean. For 50 years they lived in the foreign court, biding their time while their people were butchered and enslaved. She hadn't once mentioned it. I knew better than to ask. Every element of this wedding sends a message to not only Prythian, but the world beyond, she said. I stifled a sigh. I knew. She told me this before. I know you're not fond of the dress. Understatement. I hated the monstrosity of tulle she'd selected. Tamlin had, too, though he'd laughed himself hoarse when I showed him in the privacy of my room. But he'd promised me that though the dress was absurd, the priestess knew what she was doing. I'd wanted to push back about it, hating that though he agreed with me, he had sided with her, but it took more energy than it was worth. Ianthe went on. But it makes the right statement. I spent time amongst enough courts to know how they operate. Trust me in this. I do trust you, I said, and waved a hand toward the papers before us. You know how to do these things. I don't. Silver tinkled at our... Guys, I'm losing my train of thought here. I need to focus. Silver tinkled at Ianthe's wrists, so like the bracelets the children of the Blessed wore on the other side of the wall. I sometimes wondered if the foolish humans had stolen the idea from the high priestesses of Prythian, if it had been a priestess like Ianthe who had spread such nonsense among humans. Also, I'm still curious what happens to those people. Because, did they just straight up just die? I know when Amarantha was kind of in control of everything, probably, yes, they did just die. I'm talking the rest of the time. What's the plan now? It's an important moment for me as well, Ianthe said carefully, adjusting the circlet atop her head. Teal eyes met mine. You and I are so alike. young, untested amongst these wolves. I'm grateful to you and to Tamlin to allow me to preside over the ceremony, to be invited to work with this court, be a part of this court. The other high priestesses do not particularly care for me, nor I for them, but... She shook her head, the hood swaying with her. Together, she murmured, the three of us make a formidable unit. 4, if you count Lucian, she snorted. Not that he particularly wants anything to do with me. A leading statement. She often found ways to bring him up, to corner him at events, to touch his elbow or shoulder. He ignored it all. Last week, I finally asked him if she'd set her sights on him, and Lucian had merely given me a look, snarling softly before stalking off. I took that as a yes. I mean, I would. Wouldn't you? Everybody's hot! Everybody's so hot! But a match with Lucian would be nearly as beneficial as one with Tamlin. The right hand of a High Lord and another High Lord's son. Any offspring would be powerful, coveted. You know it's hard for him where females are involved, I said neutrally. He has been with many females since the death of his lover. Perhaps it's different with you. Perhaps it'd mean something he's not ready for. I shrugged, searching for the right words. Perhaps he stays away because of it. She considered, and I prayed she bought my half-lie. Ianthe was ambitious, clever, beautiful and bold. But I did not think Lucian forgave her. That sounded like she's a soap opera, guys. Come on. But I did not think Lucian forgave her, or would ever forgive her, for fleeing during Amarantha's reign. Sometimes I honestly wondered if my friend might rip her throat out for it. Ianthe nodded at last. Are you at least excited for the wedding? I fiddled with my emerald ring. It'll be the happiest day of my life. That doesn't sound like she means it. The day Tamlin had asked me to marry him, I'd certainly felt that way. I'd wept with joy as I told him yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. And made love to him in the field of wildflowers, where he'd brought me for the occasion. Sex outside, al fresco. Ianthe nodded. The union is cauldron blessed. Your survival of the horrors in the mountain only proves it. I caught her glance then, toward my left hand, the tattoos. It was an effort not to tuck my hand beneath the table. The tattoo on her brow was of midnight blue ink, but somehow still fit, still accented the feminine dresses, the bright silver jewelry, unlike the elegant brutality of mine. We could get you gloves, she offered casually. And that would send another message, perhaps to the person I so desperately hoped had forgotten I existed. I'll consider it, I said with a bland smile. It was all I could do to keep from bolting before the hour was up and Ianthe floated to her own personal prayer room, a gift from Tamlin upon her return, to offer midday thanks to the cauldron for our land's liberation, my triumph, and Tamlin's ensured dominance over this land. I sometimes debated asking her to pray for me as well, to pray that I'd one day learn to love the dresses and the parties and my role as a blushing pretty bride. I was already in bed when Tamlin entered my room, silent as a stag through a wood. I lifted my head, going for the dagger I kept on the nightstand, but relaxed at the broad shoulders, at the hallway candlelight gilding his tan skin and veiling his face in shadow. You're awake? He murmured. I could hear the frown in his voice. He'd been in his study since dinner, sorting through the pile of paperwork Lucian had dumped on his desk. I couldn't sleep, I said, watching his muscles shift as he moved to the bathing room to wash up. I'd been trying to sleep for an hour now, but each time I closed my eyes, my body locked up, the walls of the room pushed in. I'd gone so far as to throw open the windows, but it was going to be a long night. I lay back on the pillows, listening to the steady, efficient sounds of him preparing for bed. He kept his own quarters, deeming it vital for me to have my own space. But he slept in here every night. I'd yet to visit his bed, though I wondered if our wedding night would change that. I prayed I wouldn't thrash awake and vomit on the sheets when I didn't recognize where I was, when I didn't know if the darkness was permanent. Maybe that was why he hadn't pushed the issue yet. He emerged from the bathing room, slinging off his tunic and shirt, and I propped myself on my elbows to watch as he paused at the edge of the bed. But why is she watching him? My attention went right to the strong, clever fingers that unfastened his pants. Yeah! Okay, it's getting sexy again, guys. Tamlin let out a low snarl of approval, and I bit my bottom lip as he removed his pants along with his undergarments. Okay, revealing the proud, thick length of him. Damn! My mouth went dry, and I dragged my gaze up his muscled torso, over the planes of his chest, and then... Hey! Come here, he growled, so roughly the words were barely discernible. God damn it. Thank you, Pippino. Thank you. I pushed back the blankets, revealing my already naked body, and he hissed. He hissed. This scene is playing out strange. She was prepared. His features turned ravenous while I crawled across the bed and rose up on my knees. I took his face in my hands, the golden skin framed on either side by fingers of ivory and swirling black, and kissed him. He held my gaze through the kiss, even as I pushed myself closer, biting back a small noise when he brushed against my stomach. What's brushing against your stomach? His calloused hands grazed my hips, my waist, then held me there as he lowered his head, seizing the kiss. A brush of his tongue against the seam of my lips had me opening fully for him, and he swept in, claiming me, branding me. Jesus Christ. We're getting right into it in this book. We're on chapter 2. We're on chapter 2. Clearly she took the note. She was like, okay, this is what everyone wanted. Awesome. Okay, chapter 2 it is. It did, didn't it, Katrisha? It did. I moaned then, tilting my head back to give him better access. His hands clamped on my waist, then moved. One going to cup my rear, the other sliding between us. This moment when it was him and me and nothing between our bodies. His tongue scraped the roof of my mouth. Ugh, I don't know if I like that, sorry. And he dragged a finger down the center of me. And I gasped, my back arching. Oh my god. Farah, he said against my lips. My name my name like a prayer, more devout than any Ianthe had offered up to the cauldron on that dark solstice morning. Don't talk about his friend while you're doing this. Like, she's very hot unless she's coming in the room. Don't talk about her. His tongue swept my mouth again. In time to the finger that he slipped inside me. Oh my god. My hips undulated, demanding more, craving the fullness of him. And his growl reverberated in my chest as he added another finger. Where does details abound. Details abound. I moved on him. Lightning lashed through my veins, and my focus narrowed to his fingers, his mouth, his body on mine. His palm I'm trying to, Pippa, no. It's okay. It's okay that you love how uncomfortable I get. That's kind of the point. It's okay. It's fine. Fine. Are we happy? I played it. Did it work? I don't know. But there it is. There it is. I reduced the number of bits that it costs. So there's that. Back to reading this. Here, let's actually, you know what, guys? Let's see if I can get us anything here. Well, I'm paused. Well, I'm recovering because there's still plenty more. She is. She's gonna be quite happy about this. What's this like? What's this playlist like? Let's see. Is it broken? I broke it. It's a playlist called Soft Erotica. I think that's maybe what we're going for here. Yep, very Cinemax. Yep. Okay, so this was the next line that I was stunned by, and then it took me a second, and then I didn't read it, and now I have to read it. Okay. His palm pushed against the bundle of nerves at the apex of my thighs, and I groaned his name as I shattered. God damn it. He found the clit at least. Good job, dude. My head thrown back, I gulped down night cool air, and then I was being lowered to the bed, gently, delicately, lovingly. He stretched out above me, his head lowering to my breast, and all it took was one press of his teeth against my nipple before I was clawing at his back. Before I hooked my legs around him and he settled between them. This. I needed this. So she's compensating with sex. Okay, we're going to stop for a second and just realize that this is a trauma response. Maybe? Or maybe it's just hot. I don't know. He paused, arms trembling as he held himself over me. Please, I gasped out. He just brushed his lips against my jaw, my neck, my mouth. I almost said my neck, my back. Oh God. My hand looks so fucking weird. With the missing nail, it looks really strange. That's okay. Tamlin, I begged. He palmed my breast, his thumb flicking over my nipple. I don't like the word nipple. This is just, oh my God, okay. I cried out, and he buried himself in me with a mighty stroke. Fuck. God damn it. Okay. For a moment, I was nothing, no one. Then we were fused, two hearts beating as one, and I promised myself it always would be that way. Yes, a mighty stroke. As he pulled out a few inches, the muscles of his back flexing beneath my hands, holy crap, and then slammed back into me. Again and again. Again and again. I broke and broke against him as he moved, as he murmured my name and told me he loved me. And then that lightning once more filled my veins, my head. When I gasped out his name, his own release found him. And as Dr. Jordan told us all last night, it is very uncommon for two people to come at the same time, and yet it is happening right now. I gripped him through each shuddering wave, savoring the weight of him, the feel of his skin, his strength. For a while, only the rasp of our breathing filled the room. Yeah, no, I've been with the same person for 10 years, and I've never experienced that happening. So, and I know Kate-Trisha is in a long-term relationship, marriage as well. So, if Kate-Trisha has also not experienced it, then the stats aren't looking very good. I frowned as he withdrew at last, but he didn't go far. He stretched out on his side, head propped on a fist, and traced idle circles on my stomach along my breasts. I'm sorry about earlier, he murmured. It's fine, I breathed. I understand. Not a lie, but not quite true. His fingers grazed lower, circling my belly button. You're everything to me, he said thickly. I need you to be all right. To know they can't get to you. Can't hurt you anymore. I know. Those fingers drifted lower. I swallowed hard and said again, I know. I brushed his hair back from his face. But what about you? Who gets to keep you safe? His mouth tightened. With his powers returned, he didn't need anyone to protect him, shield him. I could almost see invisible hackles raising. Not at me, but at the thought of what he'd been mere months ago. Prone to Amarantha's whims, his power barely a trickle compared to the cascade now coursing through him. He took a steadying breath and leaned to kiss my heart. Right between my breasts. It was answer enough. Soon, he murmured. I'm not turning off the sexy music. I'm actually enjoying it. And those fingers traveled back to my waist. I almost groaned. Soon you'll be my wife, and it'll be fine. We'll leave all this behind us. I arched my back, urging his hand lower, and he chuckled roughly. I didn't quite hear myself speak as I focused on the fingers that obeyed my silent command. What will everyone call me then? Are we talking about this? Well, he's like rubbing your bits. Yes, you get married and then all your problems are solved. Isn't that what happens for everyone? Doesn't marriage solve all your issues? Not that I'm married, which we can also talk about. Cuffster's in chat right now. 10 goddamn years of my life. Anyway, I'm teasing. I'm kidding. It's okay. But also, yeah, why are we talking about this right now? Well, he's like rubbing at you, okay? What will everyone call me then? Okay, Trisha, I fully believe that I will ruin my own proposal 100% because there has been and will continue to be pressure. So, like, I'm sure one day he'll just come in, it'll just be like, just here, just stop, just take it, there, fine, this will happen, just deal with it. Ah, fuck. He's gonna be so fed up. Yeah, they haven't cleaned, they're not even finished, Pippa. They're not even done. And they're having this conversation. Well, he definitely came, and I think she came multiple times, but she doesn't seem to be finished with that because she's wanting him to touch the things, to touch all of the things, to touch the things, and so yeah, and they're still touching and doing stuff. So we're going to have this conversation, and then also there's just going to be like little moments where he's going to do a thing, and I'm going to go, oh no. And he's very, you can tell here, effectively trying to distract her also. He grazed my belly button as he leaned down, sucking the tip of my breast into his mouth. See? Right there. He said, and the rumble against my nipple made me writhe. Why do I hate that word today? Today the word nipple feels weird and I don't like it. Is everyone just going to call me Tamlin's wife? Do I get a title? He lifted his head long enough to look at me. Do you want a title? Before I could answer, guys, get out your no-no cans! He nipped at my breast and then licked over the small hurt. Licked as his fingers at last dipped between my legs. He stroked lazy, taunting circles. Jerk. Stop biting. No teeth. No can. I'm gonna make him one. And I'll keep it on my desk. Just go shik. And this is a good one. I didn't have much success with it with my dog, actually. So I don't know if it's worked with other people's dogs and their cats. The no can. But she didn't respond to the can, and the spray bottle isn't good for her because you can't get her too wet because of her weird skin. So but she's well behaved generally, other than eating my sweaters when I'm not looking. But mostly she's good, so I needed it. But no cans recommended by most people, only kind of by me. No, I guess dope. But I don't want people cauldron boil me his damn fingers. That was actually in the book, but I also feel that. I don't know if I can handle them calling me High Lady. His fingers slid into me again, and he growled in approval at the wetness between my thighs. Ew! Ew, guys! Gross. Okay, at the wetness between my thighs, both from me and him. Yuck. I'm sorry. These things happen. Yes. Just... ew. I don't know. I don't know why. It just hit me as ew. Just all the fluids. Ugh. He can just drink a magic no baby tea. Well, isn't that great? They won't, he said against my skin, positioning himself over me again and sliding down my body, trailing kisses as he went. There's no such thing as a high lady. He gripped my thighs to spread my legs wide, lowering his mouth and... What do you mean there's no such thing as a high lady? Why are we talking about this right now? The heat, his touch, all of it stopped. He looked up from between my legs and I almost climaxed at the sight of it. What he said, what he'd implied, he kissed the inside of my thigh. High lords only take wives, consorts. There's never been a high lady. But Lucian's mother, she's Lady of the Autumn Court, not High Lady. Just as you will be Lady of the Spring Court. They will address you as they address her. They will respect you as they respect her. He lowered his gaze back to what was inches away from his mouth. Fair. So, Lucian's, I don't want to hear another male's name on your lips right now, he growled, and lowered his mouth to me. Well, at the first stroke of his tongue, I stopped arguing. And that's the end of chapter 2. It got so dirty so fast. Awesome. Awesome, great, and cool. I think I'm done, guys. I think I'm done for the night. We started an hour early today, so we had our chat with Jackie, and it got real spicy real fast, and I'm good. So I hope you all had a good time. I hope you enjoyed the first 2 chapters of the book. And we will be back on Sunday with more reading and more chatting. Yeah, we're gonna leave it on a sexy note. Once again, thank you to everybody who is subscribed. Now that that's a thing, it just makes me so happy, and that you're all hanging out and that you're all here. And I hope that we only get more people to come and hang out and get chatting. And then maybe next time when Jackie comes on, we can have more questions and more chats and more friends to ask more questions and have more chats with. So yeah, I'm gonna head out for the night. But you all have a good evening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.